Alright, so in the previous video we created the home page for the project, but in this video we're actually going to create the post page so we can actually see the post individually. Hold on just one second. I am offering free coaching to those of you who need help in JavaScript development, Flutter development, and most front-end or full-stack JavaScript frameworks. If you're not opposed to receiving some help, message me through Discord at 8dang. I'll be sure to include my tag below, but remember, I might not be able to help with everything, but I'll try my best. But with that out of the way, let's get back into the video. So then, before we get into any code, we're going to open up the terminal and run the command npm run dev. And then we're going to open up a new terminal instance and run the command. And we're going to open up the PocketBase folder. And we're going to run the command /PocketBase serve. So now, once both of these commands are done running, we can close the terminal. And in the app folder, let's create a new folder called posts. And in this folder, we're going to create a new file called +page.server.ts. Alright, so then we're going to import all the necessary things that we need. And then we're going to create a load function. And all we're going to do is redirect them to the home page. But I think this is a bug. We're going to remove the home page right here. We're going to remove home and just redirect them to /. So then we could close this file. Inside this post folder, we're going to create a new folder with called bracket ID and then close bracket, a route parameter called ID. So this allows us to display different posts depending on this ID, and this ID goes inside the route URL actually. So then, inside of this ID folder, let's create a new file called +page.server.ts. Alright, so at first we're going to import the necessary things, and then we're going to create a load function, but this load function is kind of redundant. It doesn't really do anything. I just forgot to delete it before I publish this course. So that's just on me. So we're going to create the actions for this. We're going to create two actions. One to like the post and one to actually delete the post. So then the first one is going to be toggle liked, and it's going to take in three parameters, one called the locals, one called the parameters, one called the URL. The parameters is just set to get access to the ID in the URL, and the URL obviously is to get the URL, and the locals is to get the actual instance of PocketBase for the action. So then we're going to create the auth model. Then we're going to get access to the auth model, and we're going to validate to see if it's actually a valid user and they're actually logged in. And if they're not, we're just going to redirect them to the authentication page. Then we're going to create a try catch block. And at first, we're going to get the record that they are actually, we're going to get the post that they are actually referencing. So as you see, we're getting the actual post that corresponds with the params.id. So we're expanding on the user, so we're getting the actual data for the user, not just a string with the ID of the user collection. So then we're going to get access to the post, and we're going to make sure to validate the post right here. This is just done to make sure that we assign the user so that it is not a string, so that it is actually the user object, so then we can actually validate the post correctly. So then we're going to check if we already liked this post, and if we did, we're going to say that we're going to remove the like. But if we haven't liked, so if we haven't liked, we're going to add the like. So this auth model.id, as you remember from the first video, when we set up the PocketBase, you see that the likes is actually a reference to the user's collection, and it could be multiple of them. So this auth model.id is just referring to the ID of our user document. So then we are either adding it or subtracting it. So then if there is an error, we're going to log it and we're going to return the message. And if there is no message, we're just going to say that there was an unknown error. And if everything goes according to plan, we check to see if there's any redirect, and then we just redirect them back. So now the one below it, we're going to create a new action called delete post. And here we're going to do the same thing, get access to the auth model and validate to see if they are actually logged in. And then we're going to create a try catch block saying in here the logic. So we're going to expand on the user. We're going to get access to the actual post, and we're going to validate to see if it actually is a valid post. And then we're going to see if the user actually owns this post. And if they don't, we're going to throw a new error saying that they cannot delete the post. And once that we validated to see that everything is correct, we go ahead and delete the post. So then if there are any errors, we just send back the message, and just like usual, we just send unknown error if we don't know if the error is actually an error. So then we just throw a redirect back to /. So now you can close this file, and inside the ID folder, you can create a new file called +page.ts, And here we're going to create the load function so we can actually load the data for the post. So at first we import everything we need, and then we create a load function getting access to the parameters ID right here. So we get access to the params inside the URL, and then we get access to the PB instance, and we're checking to see if the actual PB instance is actually valid and not null. And then we create a try catch block so that we're going to input the logic inside of this try catch block. Then we create an asynchronous function called get post where we're going to get the post. And then we're going to check the PB instance again. But the reason we check the PB instance again is just because TypeScript was being really buggy and it wasn't like showing the IntelliSense for this PB instance. So just to show the IntelliSense, I put this validation to make sure that TypeScript knows that this PB instance is actually valid. So then we get a reference to the post while expanding on the user, and as usual, we get access to the temporary post and we expand on the user. We say that the user is the expanded user. So by default, this user is just a string, but this expanded user is actually the data for the user. So we're just assigning the user to the expanded user. And then right here, we're going to validate the post, saying that if it's not valid, post was not found. And then we just return the post. So then if everything goes according to plan, we're just going to await the post inside of our load function. And if there are any errors, we just say that the post was not found. So then we can close this file, and inside the ID folder, we're going to create one last file called pluspage.svelte right here. So then we're going to create a script with the language property set to TS, and then we're going to import the necessary data that we need, and then we're going to export that data saying that we want access to the data that we get passed from the load function. So then we put the title of the post as the title right here in the Svelte head, and then we create a container div. And then inside here, we're going to create an article saying that if the user was not found or if the post was not found, we're going to say post not found. And if it is found, we're just going to input the post component and we're going to pass in the auth model and the post data. And then we're going to style these components saying that the div is going to be display flex and take full width of the actual container that it's containing. And then the article, same thing, but it's going to have a max width. And it's going to have flex row 1 and it's going to have a different background color than the container. So you can close this file and let's go open the terminal right here and we can open the dev server just to see the results. So as you saw in the previous video, we created this form right here. So then let's open it up right here. Let's go over to PocketBase and let's go over to the admin UI. And then if you go over to the post collection and go here, let's copy this ID, and then inside the URL you can say posts slash, and you can input the ID right after, and you see that it pops up by itself. Thank you guys for watching. I hope this video served you value. I hope you're looking forward to my next video. Like, subscribe, and comment.